Hey everyone, hello and welcome back to my channel. How y'all doing today? Okay, good for y'all. I actually don't care. Anyways, I'm just trying something new today, and that's my V2 model. If you like her or not, I'll bring her back, but if you don't like her, then I'll just have to bury her underneath my backyard. But if y'all like her, she could stick around. Isn't she cute? I designed her myself. Anyways, moving on to what I was talking about this video, I just wanted to talk about Helluva Boss, because I've made multiple videos about Helluva Boss and Has Been. And with the new episode Mastermind came out, I was shocked. I was shocked. Because it was actually generally a really good episode. I have mixed feelings about it, but it was actually genuinely really good, in my personal opinion. Of course, there's problems with it, but of course, I just want to talk about Season 2 in general. And Season 2 of Helluva Boss has been kind of a miss. I might get some problems and some hate comments for this, but in my opinion, Season 2 was not giving. It was not giving. However, of course, there's some episodes, like the Fizzarolli episodes, that slayed. Those absolutely slayed. However, majority of it hasn't been a slay. However, Mastermind, it hasn't been a slay. And I thought I would never say this in my entire life, but Satan is hot, and I would play hide the zucchini with Satan. Of course, my Catholic parents aren't going to be happy, but I have to say that with my full chest. I'm going to do this video by breaking each and every single episode down one by one. And of course, we have to start off with Season 2, Episode 1. And the episode started off on a very high note because Season 1 ended off on a cliffhanger with these two kind of breaking up. Stolas and Blitz kind of breaking up at Ozzy's. And by the way, I would say Ozzy's is literally the best song ever. It's the best song, okay? End of story. Okay, so the episode starts off with Stolas having his birthday. And for his birthday, he gets to meet his amazing, beautiful, soon-to-be future wife. And he's in an enforced engagement. And of course, that sets up for failure in the future, if you couldn't tell by that. And then we also get to see his dad, Paimon. And yeah, he's kind of a dickhead and not a good dad at all. He is not good at daddying, I would say. And then this little bird guy is just like, oh no, my kid's crying. I'm going to take him to the circus. And that's where they meet Blitz. Of course, Blitz is still going by the name BLITZO, but actually I was generally shocked and a little confused why they were meeting as kids. At first, I didn't like the fact that Stolas and Blitz met as children. However, when we jump to this scene, you could clearly see that Stolas is a sad person. Like, his wife is taking the covers, she's just taking the covers, she's mean to him, and then we even jump over here to this scene where Stolas is like tied up to the bed and he's begging for Blitz. This showed how much Stolas was actually lonely. I'm pretty sure Stolas doesn't have any friends. The only person he would consider close would be his daughter. And it is a really sad thing to just see him begging for Stolas's, BLITZO's attention. And then, of course, Blitz caves in because he's like, I could do this really quickly. Sure. But that episode, the first half of it was actually really bad. I would say the first half of it was actually horrendous. But I really did like when they skipped to the 30 years later and they showed him both of them as an adult and stuff like that. But probably the highlight of this entire episode is this scene right here where Stolas sings his heart out. Of course, thanks to copyright, I will not be showing you any of the music video, but it was a really good song, and it really shows how much he feels like. He does feel like an owl in a cage, and it's really sad. And then we also skip to this scene right here, where Stella is almost gonna, slap Stolas, and then he catches it. I generally think that just implies that Stella does, in fact, hit Stolas sometimes, or, would throw things when she's angry. We've already seen her be aggressive and throw things when she's angry. She throws the imps, objects, and she even, destroys her teddy bear when she's, a child. So, yeah, she's a bitch. She is a bitch, okay? However, we will not condone Stolas' behavior, because Stolas' behavior throughout this entire series has been actually horrendous. It's been horrendous. He doesn't deserve the abuse that he gets from his family. However, his actions are not going to be excused, okay? And he needs to face his consequences. And that's what happened in Mastermind. But now let's go on to the other episode that is in Helluva Boss Season 2. And of course, that episode is Seeing Stars. I thought that this episode was going to save what was Season 2, even though we were only like 2 episodes in. However, with Seeing Stars, this episode pissed me off. Ah! Look at her. She's so expressive. Ah! But this episode pissed me off because we left on such a big cliffhanger with Stolas and Blitz at the end of Season 1. And then, look at this. Do you see this? They're just flirting back and forth. I'm just like, huh? What do you mean y'all are flirting back and forth? There's no repercussions that Blitz has faced. He's just like, oh yeah, we're back to square one, being fuck buddies. Yeah. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Seeing Stars, it was an amazing episode, and the highlight of this episode was Luna and Octavia's talk. And this talk actually made me cry. As someone with daddy issues, this episode made me cry. However, this scene was really beautiful. However, this scene right here, where Luna kicks Blitz in the balls, pisses me off because everything that she just said basically contradict her actions. Like, cut this man some slack, okay? I hate Blitz, but cut him some slack, Luna, okay? Because you could have been like, I don't know, killed. I'm not just saying that she should like give her entire life and thanks to Blitz. However, she could be less of a bitch. Luna, can you be less of a bitch, please? Now, in my personal opinion, I do not like Luna. And during this scene, that's when I realized, yeah, Luna's a bitch. She is just so mean. And for what reason? Oh, so she could be like the hot goth girl that like hates you and like beats you up. Boy, be for real. This episode just solidified the fact that I hated Luna so much. However, that changed during Mastermind. But also, we need to talk about the whole, I'm so sick and tired of seeing the M&Ms doing their own little side gig. Like, I don't, like, just don't bring them along. Like, we don't need to focus on them doing their side quest. Just don't bring them along, because we already had a B plot with Luna trying to find Octavia, the main plot of this episode. And then we had an A plot of Blitz trying to live his dreams of being on TV with Stolas. So there was no point in having a C plot with the M&Ms, in my personal opinion. Of course, I would say that a lot of these episodes have a highlight moment. That's the best moment. But then overall, everything just sucks. And, okay. Let's move on to the other one. The other episode. Exes and Ohhs. So now let's talk about Exes and Ohhs. And I honestly thought that this episode was going to be about Millie, but we don't get Millie episodes. No, Millie doesn't get her own screen time. No, Millie, you don't get anything. But I thought this was going to be a Millie episode. However, instead of it being a Millie episode where we get to see her past about like different types of exes and her family, no, we don't get that. We get to focus on fucking Moxie. Okay. We get to focus on Moxie in the episode Exes and Ohhs. It starts off with Millie being very upset because she ran into an ex, and apparently it was a really bad breakup with this ex, supposedly. However, we get to see nothing of their relationship. We literally don't see how Chaz treats her. We don't see any of their past, or we don't even get to see any type of like foreshadowing or like backstory between those two, which really pisses me off. Like, don't say, oh, this is going to be a Millie episode, and then say, oh, nope, it's going to be about her husband. Bruh, this is just horrible. Also, I hate the fact that Blitz is so into this idea of like, oh my god, we fucked the same person. All three of us have sex with the same person. I'm just like, you nasty. You are nasty, Blitz. You are nasty. Fuck you, Blitz. But I do think that this episode was strong. However, with this episode having a lot of strong points, there are a lot of points that gets, deducted, is the comedy. So we have this very serious scene where we look at Moxie's childhood. And yeah, his dad was abusive. His dad is literally in the mob. His dad was abusive, and we can see that on screen, on full display. Moxie's dad forces him to kill people. He dumps them in the river, takes their horns, puts them on display, which what happened to Chaz at the end of this episode. And then we even get this little hint that he killed his mom. I don't think Moxie killed his mom. I think it was just Crimson who killed his mom. But, like, that is, like, straight up evil. Also, Moxie's mom is really hot. Like, do you agree with me? Like, she's really hot. But overall, this episode was really strong and had a lot of strong points. Like, I really do like the scene right here where he's just like, you'll see just how good as I got at my job. Like, he's just threatening to kill his dad. But then that's ruined when Moxie gets hit in the head. And then we even have this point where, like, after talking about his childhood, it literally goes straight into a sex joke. It goes straight into dicks in the walls. And I'm just like, yeah, at first it's funny, but at the same time that just de-escalates everything that we just talked about with his childhood. So that just makes his childhood scenes seem like less more goofy in my opinion. To like have the dicks in the wall jokes. Like, I don't want to see dildos in the wall, okay? I'm probably going to get demonetized by saying this, but I don't want to see dildos in the wall. It was honestly kind of disgusting when I went back to go rewatch these episodes. And I just generally think that Moxie, this episode just proves that Moxie is a little bitch baby, and he has a tiny dong. He's a little bitch baby, because literally throughout this whole episode, he's been hiding behind Millie and has to use Millie in a way to, like, feel validated about himself, about being good at his job. Quote unquote, good at his job. I'm sorry. When has he been successful? I mean, like, he's been successful, but, like, majority of the time, it's Millie doing the work, because Millie is just that girl. This episode could have been so much. However, it just de-escalated everything with the jokes and Millie just showing that she is that bitch and Moxie just not being good. This is literally a Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit scene. Oh, he makes me laugh. Girl, get yourself a new man. Actually, I really do like their relationship, but, like, at the same time, it pisses me off. Also, I just want to say that also I think it was very interesting how we were able to finally see the greed ring. We were able to finally see the greed ring, and we also got to see how Chaz treated Moxie, and we also got to see how Blitz met Moxie, which was very interesting, and I love the fact that we were able to get to see how each and every single character was able to meet Blitz. Like how he adopted Luna from the farm. I mean, not the farm, from the pound. And that was really interesting to see. And I loved how he had a flashback to that, of like a Vietnam flashback. And then I also love the fact that they met in prison. I just want to know, how did Blitz get into prison is what I also want to know. Because I think Blitz has such an interesting story and interesting background. But another thing is that we also got to see how Chaz treated Moxie. And Moxie was treated, honestly, though, in my opinion, really good. Like, he was treated really good. However, this scene right here where he just didn't come back for him after he got his leg hurt really showed, oh, he only cared about the money. The money. Also, another thing that I don't understand is how Crimson is literally in part of the mob. How do you run out of money? Also, if you're a part of the mob, why don't you just kill Chaz? Like, that's literally all the mob does, is, like, kill people for money. Can't you just kill Chaz? Like, they don't even need to go through the whole, I'm gonna make you force him to get married. They could have just skipped to the whole, yeah, give me your money or else I'm gonna kill you. Also, I don't understand why they didn't do background check on Chaz, but I honestly thought that was really stupid. I generally think that Crimson is one of the dumbest villains ever, because he's supposed to be a smart guy for the mob, but no, he's just literally stupid. Okay, let's move on to Western Energy. Ooh, was this episode good? Oh, this episode was really good. I loved this scene where they're just fighting. Stella and Stolas are just fighting, calling each other name, talking about the divorce, and he gets kidnapped. He literally gets kidnapped in broad daylight, and literally no one cared. But Stella's just like, this is all part of my plan. I've totally seen this coming. And I absolutely love this fact that, like, literally no one cares. It shows that, like, no one really cares about Stolas, but at the same time, they just don't care about other people. Also, the whole fact that he got kidnapped and then he immediately called Blitz also shows that, yeah, they're just going to forget about what happened at Ozzy's, which really pisses me off because they don't really talk about Ozzy's in this entire, like, season. They only mention it once. Other than that, they don't mention it ever again. But I think it's really interesting how the first person he called was Blitz. And I really love this scene where he's just like, sexy? And they're immediately like, oh my god, that's Stryker. Because I agree. Stryker is so... Stryker is so attractive. I'm sorry, Stryker is so attractive. I just have to say that. And also, I love the fact that there's still the running gag about Blitz breaking his phone. I think it's so funny, but that also shows that he's, like, enraged about the fact that his little bird was stolen. And then I think the whole plot with the whole little side plot about the whole, oh, Luna's gonna get a shot was kind of, I felt like there was a little too much focus on that, but at the same time, I really do think that kind of shows their relationship. Like, he cared and waited so many years in order to get this shot for Luna, so that really shows that Blitz does care about his daughter. But at the same time, it makes me think about how the Hellhounds are treated. Like, why did you put a cone around her as if she's a dog? Yes, she is like a werewolf hound thingy, but at the same time, she's still a sentient being. She's not like a dog. But at the same time, that just shows how much their relationship is. And I feel like that also shows that Luna is generally afraid of needles and the doctor, which I feel like that might just be trauma from her being from the vet, or from her being from the, the pound, because, like, when you're in the pound, stuff like that happens. And then let's just go on over to Moxie and Millie doing their own side quest. I love the fact that these two were able to finally have some attention to themselves, just both of them. They were the A plot instead of being the B or C plot. And I love it. Their fighting styles, I loved it. The animation, amazing. The music, amazing. However, this scene right here where Stryker is just stroking his own ego, making a big statue of him erect. I really didn't like that, because in my personal opinion, I feel like Stryker just generally just doesn't like sex at all. He finds it disgusting, and that's my headcanon for him. Because look at him right here. He's just you want me to choke you? Disgusting. You want me to stab you more? Disgusting. He's just disgusted about it. It's generally so funny. I love to see it. But also, I just think that this episode was really, really strong. I don't have that much negative things to say about it, because I generally really did like this episode. But one of the things that I did hate about this episode, where Stolas is getting beaten up, is he's just oh, BLITZO's knife is so much bigger and stabs deeper. I really hated that scene so much. It made me so uncomfortable. But this episode was really strong, and it was a really high point. It had a lot of high points, and I should say I love it absolutely. It showed the relationship between all the characters, how Blitz just loves Luna and was able to wait such a long time to show her the shot that she really needed. We also finally got to see the sloth ring, and we also got to see different things from the wrath ring instead of it just being a desert. And then we also got to see how Blitz trusts Millie and Moxie so much to go save Stolas. And we also got to see this scene right here is probably my favorite scene in the entire episode, is where Blitz just stares at Stolas and says he can get hurt. He was genuinely surprised that he could get hurt. And that just sets up so much for the future episodes, because he realizes, I gotta protect my boy. I gotta protect my bird boy. I really do. Because he finally has that realization of, yeah, he could get hurt and he needs to have some protection. And this scene right here absolutely broke me, where Blitz didn't respond to his text messages. I really need to know if Blitz did or didn't, visit Stolas in the hospital, because if he didn't, I would be really pissed if he didn't, because how could you do that? But we all know what time it is. It's time that we talk about the worst episode ever. I genuinely hate this episode so much, and I think everyone in the fandom can agree with me that this episode is literally the worst episode ever. It's the worst episode in Helluva Boss. It's the worst episode in the entire Whimzy Pop lore. It's time to talk about Happy Campers. And I'm not happy. Well, Unhappy Campers. I'm not happy about this episode. It not only did it have the worst plot ever, it also randomly introduced Barbie Wire. And then it also had the worst song ever. And I agree, this is the worst song ever. And also, at the very end of the day, they just had to do an incest joke. That whole episode, incest joke. I was like, bruh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? First of all, we start off the episode with Blitz wanting to do something for his sister, trying to find his sister Barbie Wire in, like, I would say a rehab. And of course he was denied because he can't get in there without permission. And yeah, we get to see another part of the sloth ring where it's like mostly just the hospital and just medical wards all around. I can't speak English today. No. But we also got to see another part of the sloth ring, which was also very interesting. And then we also get to see the fact that Blitz really does generally care about his sister, because that's like the only part of family that he really has is Barbie Wire. However, I think her introduction was really just really late into the game and really slow. Like there was no build up to her introduction. Yes, you could see like pictures and posters of her like in the background of BLITZO's office. It's just that like she randomly being there just generally doesn't make sense at all. But also we have another main plot about it being about Millie and Moxie. And this plot really sucks, because I generally thought that this was gonna be a Millie episode again. But guess what? It wasn't. You don't get no screen time, Millie. No screen time for you, Millie. No screen time for you, Millie. We're 2 seasons into this show. You still have no screen time, Millie. You don't deserve screen time, even though she does deserve screen time. That's because Vizzy Pop doesn't know how to write woman. Ooh! Who said that? I said that, and I generally think that is absolutely true. This whole episode was focusing on Moxie and his stupid, his whole insecurity things about how he's like insecure about his wife and he needs all the attention from these fucking children. It's like, bruh, you do not need all this attention from children. And he was like begging for it. The moment his wife was able to get some type of, people think I'm important, people care about me, the moment that she was able to get that, Moxie was like, no, you don't get that. You don't get that at all. And that was really, really sad to see, because Millie deserves everything. Like, yeah, sure, she had a normal childhood, and yeah, sure, she doesn't have that much trauma as like all the other characters, but that doesn't make her a boring character. She's actually very interesting. It's just sad that we never get to see that, because Millie just doesn't get anything that she wants in this entire series, and it really makes me upset. Like, we could have focused on the fact that Millie feels very insecure and how Millie never gets attention or recognition about like anything that she does for the company in IMP. However, she doesn't get that. She just randomly has this scene between her and her husband where she just like, I generally thought that people thought that I was important, and it's very sad that I thought people was important for me. And I was like, damn, Millie, damn, I didn't know you had these problems. However, those problems are all swept under the rug, and we are all forgetting about it. Everyone forgets about it, because we go immediately into an incest joke. Are you kidding me? This is the worst episode ever, and I actually hate this episode. Every single character was out of character. Millie was out of character. BLITZO was out of character. Moxie was out of character. We don't even get to see a single line by Luna. Luna is barely in season 2. Luna is barely in season 2, and I will stand on that fact that Luna barely has any screen time in season 2. Poor Kay, I don't know why. And I can't answer that question for you. But Unhappy Campers is literally the worst episode in all of Helluva Boss, and I will stand by that fact. Having to rewatch this episode actually genuinely hurt my soul. And I feel like my lifespan has been shortened because of it. I hate Happy Campers. It had no meaning, and at the end of the day, it was just an incest joke. It had no meaning. It just showed how much Moxie is such a little fucking bitch. Let's move on to the other episodes. The better episodes, might I add. The episodes that make me oh so very happy. The Fizzarolli episodes! Okay, and now we need to talk about the one and the only, the Fizzarolli episodes. In my opinion, these 2 Fizzarolli episodes are kind of my favorite. So in the episode Oops, we start off by getting an opening scene of, to surprise to absolutely no one, we all saw it coming, Oz and Fizz are hooking up. Not only are they hooking up, but they're living together and they are in love. They literally say that they're in love. Now, I like their relationship. However, there are some problems with it. I wouldn't say it's 100%, the most healthiest relationship ever, because Oz and Fizz do have their problems with their relationship. Like, look at this little, he just like, I'm gonna make a whole video about how Vizzy Pop does representation in her medias and both of her shows, but in my personal opinion, I can't really speak about like disability representation, but I would say that the queer relationships in Helluva Boss, especially with Fizzarolli and Osmodeus, I wouldn't say it's the best, because literally Osmodeus is literally such freaking Wattpad height difference, not to mention how they're always like, oh, you're my little baby boy and I have to take care of you. Like, okay, first of all, he's a grown-ass man. He's like 30 years old. You don't have to be babying him all the time. I get that some people like to do the baby talk or like nicknames in relationships. But for me personally, watching it on screen when they're like both in their 30s while someone's like, what, over 2,000 years old? It's a little weird if you ask me. But honestly though, let's go back to me reviewing this episode instead of their relationship. So obviously they're in love and stuff like that, and obviously it's a secret because it's very hypocritical, because he's all about love and not lust. And I really like this idea right here that like when he goes to like visit Stolas and stuff like that, that he emphasizes that lust is about consent and about both of these parties having pleasure. And I really do enjoy that representation of like, I guess, lust in media, if that makes sense, because you know what I mean? Because like I feel like a lot of media portray lust as like a horrible, disgusting, bad thing, while in this it's about consent and it's about each party being happy and pleasurable experience for them. So I do appreciate how Osmodeus feels about this. Obviously he would be the expert because he is the sin of lust. We have this little detail about how Fizz is like, oh, I could go by myself, and I think Oz is just trying to protect him. Oz is generally just trying to protect him because Fizz has been through a lot. I mean, half of his body is just like, just prosthetics. Half of his body is prosthetics. All of his limbs are prosthetics. So I would be worried too about Fizz. However, I don't think he needed to be on his back like this. Yes, the city is called Ransom, but he's a celebrity. Celebrities would obviously have like 1 or 2 bodyguards and stuff like that. And then freaking BLITZO comes out of nowhere and is just like, yeah, I'm gonna like start talking to Fizz. And I'm just like, oh, why do you have to be involved, Blitz? Why? Oh yeah, we'll get onto this reason why he's involved and why it actually makes me upset that he's in this episode. So Fizzarolli and BLITZO start fist fighting, and then we go into a cutscene where we go straight to freaking Crimson talking to Stryker. Okay, I was not expecting to see Stryker this soon, but hey, I love seeing Stryker. I'm okay with it. And then we even say that Stryker's like, oh yeah, I'll catch anything for you. And then he ends up capturing Fizz and BLITZO. And then freaking Crimson being like the smartest person ever. This is sarcasm if you couldn't tell. Crimson being the smartest villain ever says, I'm gonna threaten the sin of lust. I'm gonna threaten literally the person who rules over an entire lust ring. Crimson, you're dumb. You are dumb. I want to talk about the conversation about BLITZO, about Blitz and Fizz. I think that their conversation really shows about how they view their new status in society. So Fizz obviously going through a lot, going through all of his like physical therapy and like that explosion that happened to him when he was a kid. Obviously that was a lot and that was a huge toll on his body. But obviously he overcomes that. And he looks good. And now that he has like this celebrity status, he's living the high life. He's enjoying his life and he loves it. He even says that he loves it. But Blitz hates his life. Blitz hates his life. And I think these two characters show exactly the difference between how trauma can ruin you, how trauma can like actually build a character, build better personalities, build better character development. So that is a very interesting thing that we have between these two idiots. And then we get to the freaking cutscene where they start like, yeah, let's start fighting and stuff like that. And I hate the fact that Blitz is just flirting back and forth with Fizz. And I just do not like it. I do not like it one bit. It just shows that Blitz is the definition of a whore. And we even get this scene where they're fighting. And I really like the scene. I really like the episode, the song that Fizz sings. It's a really catchy song. to just distract the guards. And I love the detail. It's just like, oh, I'm going to need 60 seconds and the rest of the song is 60 seconds. I love that detail so much. The sad parts. This part pissed me off so much because Fizz is like, yeah, because of you, BLITZO, I was in an explosion. I lost my limbs. I lost half of my body. It's your fault, Fizz. It's your fault, Blitz. And then Blitz is like, you have no idea what I've been through. Shut the fuck up, Blitz. Shut the fuck up. You have a scar on your face. You have scars on your body. Fizz, look at Fizz. Look at what happened to Fizz because of your dumbass. Because of your dumbass. I hate how BLITZO is always like this. He makes himself into the biggest victim in the entire world, where he's just like, oh, you went through that? I went through worse. This is what happened to me. This is what happened to me. I lost my mom in the fire. I lost my family. This is what happened to me. Yeah, sure, Blitz's life is absolutely horrible. You're alive. You have your limbs. Fizz doesn't. Little bit of sympathy, Blitz. Just a little bit of sympathy. I hate Blitz. I hate him so much, especially how he's just like, oh, think about what I've been through. Shut up and stop making yourself into the victim. Okay, Pookie? Okay, buddy Boo Boo Bear? I'm sick of him. And then in this scene, he sort of gets a redemption where he's just like, oh, this time I went back to you to save you. You think that makes it up? You generally think that makes it up? No, you're stupid. You are stupid, honey. I just hate it how he paints himself into the biggest victim, and then he does one thing right in his life and he thinks, oh, everything I've done wrong, absolutely erased because I've done this one good deed. That does not erase everything, all the bad deeds that you have done. Yes, he was out of Fizz's life for 15 years, but still at the same time, 15 years, that doesn't equate to this. I hated the fact that they just hugged it out and they're just like, oh yeah, 15 years of trauma, absolutely over with. 15 years of miscommunication, absolutely over with. We're besties now. I hate it so much. And then I hate the scene where Blitz literally asks, can we make out? Shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to kiss your ugly ass with your big ass forehead like that. Shut up. And then we get this beautiful, adorable scene where Fizz goes back to Osmodeus. And the whole episode is basically about, like, the whole B-plot is just Osmodeus and Stolas going through these records. And honestly, though, I think, yeah, if Stolas wasn't there, yeah, Fizz's head would have been on the wall. So thank God Stolas was there, because Osmodeus, his dumb ass, would have, like, signed those papers. Because he was so quick to get his baby boy back. And then we have this adorable scene where Fizz comes back and they just hug it out, and it is absolutely adorable. I love it. However, this scene right here where, like, Fizz looks down as Osmodeus says you can't leave. Like, obviously he can leave the house, the palace, or whatever they live in. Obviously he can leave, but I think there might be something underlined with it, with him. He's just looking down. I genuinely want to know why he looked down. Maybe it's because he feels sad about it. And that's kind of where the episode ends, where they just, like, hug it out and they're, like, all cutesy and cuddly. And yeah, and then he gets his limbs replaced. I think it's absolutely adorable. Their relationship is adorable, but there's a lot of problems in the relationship as well. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's 100% accurate to, like, the representation of queer relationships, the representation of X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to say that because it's not the 100% good, accurate relationships. Because there's a lot of problems with it. There's a lot of problems with it. And somebody already made a video about their relationship. And I absolutely love this video. And if y'all should totally go check them out. It's a great video. It explains everything that I think. And if I commented on it, if y'all want to see my comment, y'all can. But I think their whole Wattpad height difference is kind of crazy. Yes, he could, like, shapeshift into different heights. But, like, him always being at that height level while Fizz is, like, this ooh-woo baby boy. It's like, y'all are full-grown adults. Dude, you are 30. And that's like basically all my thoughts about this episode. I generally think that it had a lot of strong points and it was pretty good. I just think that it was really rushed. Really extremely rushed, especially with the whole, oh, let's hug it out, we're besties now. That scene was heavily rushed. And honestly, I don't know why Fizz became sort of like the main character in, like, these next 2 episodes. But I love it because I generally do like Fizz. And I think he's kind of a better protagonist. I just love how Fizz actually has more character development than Millie, which really shows. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the women in Helluva Boss in my representation video about this, but I think it was rushed how they hugged it out. I love seeing their relationship. There's problems with it. And Blitz is definitely an attention-seeking whore who definitely has to do the trauma of, like, I'm the biggest victim ever. Okay, let's go on to the second fizzy episode. Okay, I was originally gonna have this into, like, a full-length thing, but, like, I don't have enough storage for it to be an hour-long vid. So I'm splitting up into 2 parts. And so this is the first half of the season, and the next vid will be the second half of the season. So stay tuned for that. Okay? Yay!